Welcome back to Car Mechanic Simulator 2021 and my current obsession. Today we are trying to get enough money so we can go and buy the extension and the bodywork table. As the next story car we need to be able to fix bodywork. So we'll start with the bulk cargo. This has knocking sound coming from the suspension. It has general running gear issues, generally rubber bushing, my favourite thing to find and fix. It has brake performance problems and the car is loud. Now the car is loud, it's generally going to be an exhaust issue and it's one of the easiest things to see because they're just brown and rusted. But the plan is we want about £15,000 in the bank. And what I'm trying to do is have a £5,000 kind of buffer. So if we buy the extension it's £10,000. That leaves us £5,000 to still be able to fix cars. I don't want to get to a position of not being able to. Straight away we can see the problem with the exhaust. It's an obvious one. And exhausts are really simple to fix. They're not massively expensive either. They're fairly simple, but it's buying new parts every time. You can't fix these when you can finally fix parts. You can't do anything. So the rear muffler B for the V8 has gone. And I think this is our first bolt cargo that we've worked on. Exhaust pipe C has also gone. Now the suspension looks a little bit iffy, but it's probably okay. It's not on our list of things, although there's nothing specific on our list. We've got to find things ourselves, but general suspension bar, there's no way that's going to be needed replacing. And we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, so we kind of forgot to do an examination, so here we go. We'll speed through the examination. So as you can see, the suspension's a bit iffy, but it's not on our list of things to fix. I'm sure it'll be fine. It's a bulk cargo. They're going to rust. They're going to be used a lot for handling heavy goods. They're going to need suspension looking at occasionally. But we are going to buy the new exhaust parts. And as I say, they're not that expensive. 57 credits for the exhaust pipe. And the rear muffler, 285. Okay, a little bit more than I was expecting, but it's not massively bad, and we'll recoup that from the caravan itself anyway. But it's a nice looking van. I'm looking forward to finding one of these and doing one of these up. I think they could be good fun. It's definitely different to normal cars we see. So we can put the exhaust pipe back on, rear muffler as well. That can go back on now. And we should have near enough solved. I can't remember how many exhaust issues there were. We're just going to have a quick look at the wheels, see if we can find the brake issues. It's going to be brake pads, things like that. Simple things to fix, simple things to find, and straight away you can see the brake caliper doesn't look fantastic. I think a lot of Car Mechanic Simulator things you can see visually. If you're not looking and you're waiting for it to tell you, it's not going to happen. Yes, you can do tests, but you need to be looking at things and just seeing. I'm going to take the brake disc off just to see what percentage it is. It's also a good thing to see if it comes up on the list of parts. And again, we've got a rusty part there as well. That looks okay though. Yeah, everything looks okay. There's some things you can't examine for and you can't test for until later on. So there's a lot of suspension problems you can't test for until you get a test track. And I know there's a test track you can drive around and that's fine, but there's another one that can go next to the garage. That can do all your rubber bushings and things like that. That's going to save my life later on once we get one. Rubber bushings are definitely my nemesis. Mainly because, I don't know, I just struggle to find them. I thought I was getting better at it, but I'm still struggling to find them. It's weird. But we need to buy a new brake caliper cylinder. For this wheel anyway, the left rear. And that's that done. We need an actual brake caliper as well. By the looks of it. There we go. Again, they're not massively expensive. We're going to spend a bit of money fixing up, but again, it's a customer car. We're going to get the money back. You generally make a decent profit. So the brake disc can go back on. It's not below the percentage. I don't think it's going to need fixing, so that's all good. Brake caliper can go back on as well. And we might as well put the wheel back on. Right, we'll check the left rear. So let's check the right rear now and just see if there's any issues here. Just trying to look through the wheel. The brake pad's a little bit obscured, so you can't really tell. We'll take it off and have a closer look. I think the brake disc is fine. The brake pad looks okay. Brake cylinder looks fine. Yeah, I think that one's actually absolutely fine. No reason to take anything off. I can't see anything obvious. Obviously, we could be wrong. There could be something underneath, but I'm pretty sure there's nothing underneath in the rear wheels of these vans. Right, to the front. Let's have a look here. Can we see anything? Yes, you can just make out the brake disc itself is starting to go. Whether that's low enough for replacement, I'm not sure. Brake cylinder as well is looking a bit ropey. We'll just take it off and get a closer look at it. Right, the brake pads have definitely gone. That's an obvious one. Brake disc as well. We'll take it off. Let's have a look. Raw hubcap. What's the bearing like? It's always the bearing to look out for. Take that one out. I'm not sure if it's low enough to replace, to be honest. The wheel hubcap is low, but again, is it low enough? I would say the brake pads are, but it's always a question. You don't want to go overboard with customer cars because you're going to lose money. People aren't going to come to you, say I've got a brake issue, and you change the engine and try and charge them for it. They're not going to pay for it. And this is realistic in that respect. You've got to be a bit careful what you do. I want to go above and beyond. It's kind of trying to break that habit of trying to do more than you need to. You know, you see those of brown parts and rusted and worn parts, and you just replace all of them. And then you start losing money very rapidly. And at the minute, we're trying to gain money. So we've replaced the brake disc. Brake pads now can go on. Brake caliper. That cylinder may cause us an issue. Depends if it's under the medium. Minimum. We haven't got the bearing back in. I'm trying to wonder why the wheel wouldn't come back on. Not the bearing back. And then we need the cap. There we go. And the wheel can now go back on. So I think we're okay. It may put us back to that on the brake issue. I'm not sure whether the parts are very close to the minimum was allowed. I think we might be alright. But yeah, it's a nice looking van. I'm looking forward to finding one later on and fixing it up and putting our own spin on it would be quite cool. We've got a lot of that to come. Once we start finding our own cars, we'll then start talking about what our plan is with that going forward. I've got a really, I think, a really good idea in mind. Right, so the brake cylinders, brake calipers gone. Sorry, the brake pads have gone, and the brake discs have gone. That's fairly obvious, that one. So have a look at the wheel hubcap, and the bearing behind the wheel hubcap has gone as well. That is red. So that could be a knocking sound from the suspension. Let's have a look, but I think that could be that one solved. Wheel hub bearing cuts generally are going to be that kind of issue. We haven't really solved the general running gear issue yet. My favourite rubber bushings, we haven't found them. I think there's only one we need to find. I know we haven't really brought the list up to look at that much. I kind of got a bit ahead of myself on this. I was in a rush. Oh, I wasn't in a rush. I was trying to get to this £10,000 amount, or 15,000, so we can find the extension. And I was kind of getting really excited about being able to fix bodywork. I was just kind of cracking on, and I thought, I better slow down a little bit. But anyway, we've put a new brake disc on, new brake pads, new wheel hub bearing, brake caliper, brand new, apart from the other bit that goes inside. That's okay. Wheel hub cap as well. In you go. Wheel back on. So we're going to have to check the brake issues and see if that's all of them. I don't know if it is or not. I can't quite remember how many we had. But that is the majority, I think. So yeah, I think we've definitely found the knocking sound for suspension. Let's lower it down. We haven't checked ABS. That's something we definitely need to check. We've been caught out once before with that, and I refuse it caught out again. Let's have a look. Knocking sound from suspension was the bearing. We haven't found the running gear control and repair. So I swear that's going to be a bushing. It's bound to be a bushing, and we're missing one brake issue. Okay. and we've done all the exhaust issue. The car is loud issue is done. So ABS, it's got to be, surely. And indeed it is. It's the ABS module. Yeah, I refuse to get caught out like we did previously with the ABS. I'm not spending another hour searching for a brake issue when it's in the engine bay waiting for me. And also I find if you fix the ABS module or even pump, you're generally going to gain a good amount of money back from the customer because they're expensive parts. You know, that's 600 odd credits. They're going to pay you for that. So you generally find these jobs give you a decent amount back in profit. You're going to pay out more, but your profit's going to be higher. Compared to buying cheaper parts, your profit's lower. Right, I think we still need to find what I believe is going to be rubber bushing. We try to have a closer look at things. We're going to do some tests on the engine just to be sure. It did say general running gear. It's probably a bushing. I'm just going to do some tests. One, it's XP. Never say no to XP. And you can see the engine is in okay shape. It's not fantastic. It's not green. A bit of orange and yellow, but it's okay for the age of the van and the work it does. Vans generally aren't looked after. Not really. Not in real life. So it's no surprise in the game they're not either. I don't think anything there is going to be significant for us to replace. Also, whatever test you do, if you find a part that needs replacement, it will be on the list. Right, it doesn't have an OBD port, so we can't do the scanner. We'll do the multimeter. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a bushing, but it's nice just to tick things off the list. We're trying to get into a habit of doing all the testing right at the start. The problem is you can't do certain tests if the engine won't start, so like the compression test, the fuel test. If the engine doesn't start, you can't do them, which obviously causes you an issue. You then have to fix the engine, try and get it working, and if it's working, then you can do the compression test, but then you might find you need to do a piston or something that you didn't know originally. I've been caught out a few times, which you'll see in future episodes. And it is frustrating. But I'm adamant this is going to be a bushing. Although I'm adamant, I'm still got to question it and be sure. And it is a case of looking around. And the rubber bushings, they do give a little bit of indication of wear, but they're not the easiest things to spot. They're really small, and you're still getting used to where they are. I'm going to take the drive shaft off. I did wonder if this was a gear issue, because it says general running gear. So maybe it's a gear issue, which means gearbox. There could be an issue in there. I don't know. I'm in two minds. It's worth checking out. Spend that extra couple of minutes taking a few things off, just having a look, and just seeing if we can find the issue. It could, we could get it right and get lucky, or we could get it wrong. There's no harm in taking a few things off and just having a general look. No, so they're all parts are all showing up. Condition. If they show condition and they're not on the list, then we know it's not one of those. But flywheel behind, I don't think shows up just yet. Clutch plate does, and that's yellow. That's fine. What about the flywheel? No, flywheel's in good condition. It's not telling us the condition until we take it off, but we know it's in good condition. Crankshaft is okay. Again, I don't think it's on the list. The thing that's confusing is when it says general running gear. Gear for me is a gearbox, but I know we've been caught out with this before, and it's more of a suspension problem or rubber bushing. But I'm just hedging my bets. I'm just making sure. So we can put the clutch release bearing back on. So we know the gearbox is all good. Starter needs to go back on. I can't forget to put the start motor on. That's one of my big things I forget a lot of the time. Put the gearbox back on, put the car down and think, won't work, what's going on? I always forget the starter motor. Okay, so drive shaft back on as well. We've already fixed the exhaust. Alright, we've got to find what we're looking for. Where else could it be? Could be timing. I think it's suspension, but I'm just trying to be careful. Yeah, I don't think it's the timing. Belts seem okay. Alternator is low, but we know what percentage it is, so that's not on the list, so we know it's not that. Fan we've got the percentage for. We don't have a percentage for the water pump, but it's not likely to be running gear problem. Right, bushes. Right, there's one there. Yeah, there's nothing else we can kind of test. Power steering, but I don't think it's going to do anything. Suspension doesn't work as a test for anything. And this will take us a few minutes to work out. We've got to try and find what we're looking for. And using the examination mode is a good indicator. It does give you that color-coded look. You may pick up something you didn't quite see before. It's always worth a little look around. Getting out of it is the problem. You have to remember to press some way. So we know we've done the wheel hub bearing, general running gear and control and repair. Done everything else. That's the last thing we're trying to find. So I'm going to have a look underneath. We need to start looking with rubber bushings, I think. I think that's our only real way of finding out where this is, but it could be anywhere. Right, that's a small rubber bushing. Let's have a look at that one. It's orange. No, not that one. It will come up as the part if we discover it once we take it off, or you find its percentage via testing. So there should be one the other side as well, I believe. Yeah. Can we take that one off? Let's have a look at that one. Orange again, but I don't think it's not red, which tells me it's probably not going to be that one. There's going to be more. I think they're going to be the other side, aren't they? There should be two. I just say maybe the other side. This shock absorbers seem okay. Oh, actually, the shock absorber looks really worn. It's orange, possibly. No. Okay, worth a look. It looks really, really worn, so it's definitely worth a quick look. It's only one bolt to take out, it's not too bad. Right, there's a rubber bushing there. What about that one? That's red. I think we found it. That is red. That must be it. It's normally the red parts you replace, so I'm thinking that's definitely the issue. I was looking to see if we had one we could use. I don't think we do. That is a small rubber bushing, not a normal size one. So we all need to buy a part. But at least we've done it. I believe we've done it. Took us a little while, but it's one of these lessons you learn. My initial thought was, but I didn't want to jump straight to it, just in case I was massively wrong. And I should have trusted my gut. So there we go. That is the cargo bolt van done. Or the bolt cargo, the wrong way around. Shut the bonnet. And for the van, in total, we spent, once we sold all the parts we didn't need, we spent a total of £1,274. Sounds like quite a bit, but once we sell the parts, and that's with the parts sold taken off, so yeah, that's what we spent. And money back from the van should be a decent amount. Yeah, all her bearing done. Small rubber bushing, poor brake performance. Car is loud. Job's done, finished. We actually made a profit of £807. That takes us to 14,000. One more car, extension is ours. We are moving on. So the next car we're looking at is a 1983 Sakura Takumi. Yeah, not a greatest looking car, I'll give you that. This has brake problems and is loud when accelerating. No parts discovered. So, brake problems we generally know it's going to be. Brake discs, brake calipers, brake pads, maybe ABS. You know, the general go-to things. Loud when accelerating, I'm not sure. Could be an exhaust. I'm not 100% sure. Car is loud is generally exhaust. Right, we're going to speed through the examination. And as you saw, you may have just seen, or you can see now, there is an exhaust issue. The middle muffler is no good. And the front exhaust is no good either. We actually can't take that off because we need to top bit off. And the top bit is gone as well. And actually from this angle, you can also see in the engine bay, we have another issue. And the ABS. So it's one of the brake issues. Yeah, we can't actually take that bit off. We need to get back to the engine bay to do it as well. But yeah, so loud when accelerating is also exhaust issues. I weren't 100%. I kind of, because we had car is loud issues with the van, that was exhaust. I thought this might be different. But yeah, exhaust manifold needs to come off. And then we can get to the front exhaust. So that's 3 parts of exhaust. I think I only needed 3. Need to get back underneath for that though. That's fine. While we're here though, we did spot it. ABS pump is gone. So that's one of our brake issues straight away solved. So we have to take the module off first and then we can replace the pump. Yeah, that's a nice one to find early. Because then we know it's off the list of brake issues. I think there were 5, if I remember correctly. I could be completely off. Might as well add the other bits we've already taken off to our list. Now, shopping list. I do like using the shopping list. It's a lot easier to find the bits you're after. I can see on PC, I've seen people play on PC and I've seen they type everything in manually. I can see how that's better on PC because you have a keyboard in front of you. It's quite quick. On the PS4, the problem I find is typing is pain in the bottom, and it's easier to use the shopping list. It tells you the part you need, you know, and even when you're building parts, it has an outline. You can then add that outline to your shopping list. It's just makes life simpler. Why make life harder for ourselves? So I think that we will carry on using the shopping list. I do think that's the best way forward for us anyway. Maybe later on, once we're more afraid of parts, I don't know. Maybe we'll just do it ourselves, and I'm not sure. But at the minute, we'll stick to the shopping list. Right, so the front exhaust section now come off. So that is that done. So we've got all 3 parts of the exhaust section off. So I think that's the car is loud. The loud when accelerating issue is dealt with. We just need to buy this other part. We've already bought the other 2. And I believe that's done. We just need to put them on, obviously. And I think it's just brake issues. And we started this with about 14,000. So we need a decent profit. And ABS generally says you're going to get a decent amount of money back. So we should hopefully hit the 15,000, which was the aim for today. Right, brake issues, while it's up in the air, let's have a look. Can we see any problems? Can't quite see through there. Brake disc possibly? Yeah, the brake disc massively. Couldn't quite see through. The shadow was a bit wrong. Maybe the camera angle wasn't fantastic. But yeah, that brake disc has had it. That needs replacing. And that's another one of the brake issues solved. I do generally now check the bearings on the front, just in case. To check them when you haven't done a proper survey of the car, you do need to take them off. But yeah, I like to check the bearings, just in case. Nothing worse than putting a wheel back together and finding you didn't check the bearing. The bearing needs replacing. It's always worth that extra minute just to check. So ventilate brake disc. The extension will help us with brake discs because if they're over, I think it's 16%, maybe 20, I'm not entirely sure offhand, we can actually fix brake discs for free. Ventilated and unventilated brake discs, you put them in the lathe, they're done. It's free of charge, so you can actually recondition all brakes for free. Only the discs though. which I think is a really cool thing to be able to do. It will save us money. They're not expensive, but in the long run it will save us a decent amount. I haven't decided whether we're going to add it in as a service to every car. So every car we fix that has brake issues, we do their brake discs for free. I don't know. Probably not. It's probably more time consuming doing it that way. I did think about it because, you know, it's free. It doesn't cost anything. It's probably a little bit too time consuming. Right, another brake disc. Spot that one straight away. I don't know what percentage it is. I'm going to take it off and we'll see. That, we can probably hazard a guess whether we could have fixed it or not. Obviously we can't now. We need this extension first, which we should have shortly. Wheel bearing just to check. No, it's okay. Brake disc. It's orange. We probably could have fixed that for free instead of buying a new one. Then that's the big saver. Anyway, anything a way of not buying new things better for us. There we go. We can't do it yet. We'll be able to do it hopefully by the end of this episode. That's the aim. Right, so ventilated brake disc can go back on. The brake caliper and brake pads are fine. We've got to put the bearing back on as well and the cap. The bearings always, you've got to be a bit careful with the positioning because you can miss the area you've got to put it back on very easily and it doesn't show up. I had a couple of people talk to me about this game and say it holds your hand too much. And you can go on expert difficulty, which none of the shadows or surrounding parts of anything show up. The screws don't show up. You actually have to, and bolts. You actually have to go over them yourself manually. That's expert difficulty. And yes, okay, it doesn't hold your hand. We're not ready for that. Anywhere near ready for that. I don't know whether I'd ever be ready for that, to be honest. Imagine taking an engine apart and missing one tiny detail because it doesn't tell you. How annoying would that be to rebuild it all? That brake disc looks okay. Yeah, I think we can put the wheel back on confidently. Don't think there's an issue. I think we're good. Right, the right rear. This is the last wheel to check. I do like to go around the wheels and just, make sure we are correct in what we're doing. It's still that uncertainness. And there we go. Brake disc. Brake caliper as well, I would have said. Maybe brake pads? No, brake pads might be okay. Yeah, definitely brake disc though. Housing and everything looks okay. Knuckle looks... Yeah, I think everything's there. So brake disc and brake caliper. They're in the orange, so they're probably the ones that are right. It's normally red, at a stretch orange sometimes. Yellow and green very rarely. You have to replace those. There you go, brake disc. And that's the caliper. And we can now put it all back together. And we'll have to check, but I believe that's all done. Which then comes the exciting part. We can extend. Been waiting for this moment. Opens up a world of possibilities. Fingers crossed it does. We could go bust, to be honest. There is the other way around it. This may not be the making of us. This may be the downfall. Spending money to extend the garage. Right. Let's bring the car down. We still need... We need to put the exhaust back on in the engine bay, don't we? Can't forget to do that. Yeah. Just see it's missing there. So we had to replace it. We just haven't put it back on yet. A few bolts. I'm looking forward to increasing our screwing speed as well. Although that'll be a little way down the line. Speed things up a little bit extra. Right, I believe that's everything. We'll get rid of the parts that we don't need that are no good to us. So we actually spent fixing this car up £1,300. Which isn't bad considering the ABS was one of the faults. So that means we can now send the car back to its owner, happy that we've done everything. Now we should double check. Brake problems done, all ticked, all 5. And loud and accelerating, all 3 done. Perfect. So, with this car, we actually made a profit of £1,297. That's profit after our costs. That's good. And now we should be at a target figure of £15,000. In fact, just over £15,327. We hit our target. So That means we can now go and buy our extension to the garage for 10,000 and our bodywork table, which is needed for the next mission, story mission. Let's have a look. So there we go. There's the body repair station. It's 2.5. We're not leaving ourselves that much money. That's my only worry at this point. £2,500. So the workbench is less. But I know the next story mission involves fixing bodywork. Okay. I was trying to leave myself a £5,000 buffer. We haven't got that. Hopefully we don't make a mistake. But this is the new extension. So that's our new table to fix bodywork. That's a storeroom. You can unlock that later actually. It's something we'll look at doing. And there's no lathe. I just realised there's no lathe in there. I think we need to do some upgrades of skill points. So these are our skill points, 7 available. So we've got the ability to fix parts 1. Yeah. I think that's why there's certain things missing. So part 1 parts cost us 1 skill point. So let's do that. We'll do 2 and 3 as well. We should have enough skill points for all of them. There we go. And we'll finish there. That's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. If you are enjoying the series, don't forget to subscribe, drop a like, ring the bell to not miss any content. And we'll see you with the story car next time.